want to say this and I got to go. I love y'all. Keep supporting comedy. And I want to thank each and every one of you black guys for dating these ugly-ass white chicks and taking them off our hands. Real business. My name's Ladyblaxican. I'm out of here.
Hey y'all, editing ladyblaxican jumping on here real quick. I just want to let y'all know that today's concept was inspired by Teen Noir. Shout out to her. Her video came on my feed one day, and she had a video that was posted about a year ago that talked about how she watched Girlfriends as an adult. And so that's where the concept of the video comes from, and I wanted to give her shout out. All right, let's get into the video. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is ladyblaxican coming at you with another video. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notifications so you're notified anytime I drop a new video. Also, shout out to the new subbies. Welcome to the family, y'all. If anyone has any ideas, feedback, or videos you want me to react to, please email me. My email is always in the About section, and it's ladyblaxican@gmail.com. Finally, as y'all know, the dust is quite fierce. The dust is quite fierce. So in case we need a backup plan, I've created a second channel for us. I'll link that for you below. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so for today's topic, we're going to get into the show Girlfriends. If y'all remember from a couple of weeks back, I had posted a post on my community wall about how I did not understand how Girlfriends became a hit because the dust was quite fierce. Now, admittedly, I did prematurely post that because I was like in the middle of the first season when I posted that message on my community wall. And I will say from a professional perspective, because those of y'all who've been following me for a while, I told y'all I went to acting school. So from a professional perspective, I will say that maybe I should have waited a little bit longer before posting an opinion on the show, because I will say that with time, the writing did get better, and I do see why the show was popular. There were funny moments in the show. I did laugh a lot throughout the show, I will admit. However, the dust was still quite fierce. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just give my accolades to these actors, just from a professional standpoint. All of them are very talented. All of them, you know, the show was cast very well. The cast chemistry was on point. And certainly these five main characters, played by Jill Marie Jones, Golden Brooks, Tracy Ellis Ross, Persia White, and Reggie Hayes, I will say that these were very phenomenal actors, and on a professional level, I wouldn't mind working with any of them, just because you can tell that they take their jobs very seriously. But the show was still quite dusty, and it still had major symptoms of Blackistan. And I'm just going to go ahead and elaborate on that a little bit further by breaking down each character. So, all right, to start things off, let's talk about Tony. Now, Tony is the closest thing to a divested Black woman that we're going to get in the series. And my bottom line for Tony is I just don't like the way that her character was written. Now, I to be honest with y'all, I liked Tony, but I just couldn't stand her, like, to be honest with you. And I think I couldn't stand her more than I liked her. But I still did like her. I just couldn't stand her. I didn't like the way that she just had her friends existing in her life. Like, it seemed like the matters of her life were important, but when it comes to her friends' matters, she just seemed very careless about it. She did have moments in time where she did overall care, but she always had like this front about her that she didn't care. And I didn't like that about her. And of course, she was the only one of these characters that actually was in an interracial relationship as well. And I don't like the way that they made her like, it's like she had to be a terrible mother before she became a good mother. It was like she, always had issues with her husband. She was never satisfied. She was never happy. The bottom line is I don't like how the writers made it seem like, okay, you could divest, you can be in an interracial relationship, but if you do that, you're never going to be happy. And that's like the furthest thing from the truth in real life divested Black women. Real life divested Black women have the most successful relationships with their non-Black partners. And so I felt that this was definitely disingenuous and unrealistic for a divested Black woman. And, it just, with there being a primarily Blackistan writing, mostly Blackistan writers for this series, it didn't really surprise me that the only divested Black woman was like the one to make it out. They made it seem like she was like just never happy. She was just like this selfish person, and she just was never satisfied with anything at all. There was just always an issue with Tony. And to be honest with y'all, the way that they wrote Tony in real life, she would never be my friend. Like, she would be the type of person in Blackistan I would divest from. And she's like, I mean, is she technically a divested Black woman, or is she just a swirler? Or she just so happened to be a swirler, a one-time swirler. Like, yeah, I don't like that this was the representation of a divested Black woman that we got. But like I said, when you look at the writers and you look at the producer of this series, not the producer, the executive producer is what's his name? Kelsey Grammer, and he didn't write the show. He wanted he wanted a portrayal of some kind of what it was like to be Black women, and he wanted to stand behind it, but he's not the one. He was not culturally involved with the show. The ones that were culturally involved with the show were primarily Black women, the writers and all that. And so it didn't surprise me that this is what they gave us in terms of a divested Black woman. And I just did not like that. And I found it very unfortunate that this is the portrayal that they gave us for Tony. Next up, let's talk about Joan. Now, Joan is, of course, the leader of the pack. She is the glue that holds everybody together. So it seems. She appears to be the main character of the show. So let's talk about her. So Joan is a Black woman. She's biracial in real life. Now, Tracee Ellis Ross has a white father, but the reason why the world sees her as Black is because she is the daughter of Diana Ross. I don't think, however, that she was meant to be cast as a biracial Black woman in this show. She was cast to be a Black woman in the show, but clearly you can see she is a biracial woman. She just is more so on the Black phenotypical side, right? But anyways, let's talk about Joan. Joan is a hot mess. Joan just struggles with relationships. And she never divests at all. She never keeps her options open throughout the entire series. So let's just talk about the relationships she's had throughout the show. So she's messed around with a character named Chris. He was like the mail carrier for her law office. So she was the opposite of hypergamous to a very, very high degree. She went way below her level to go on a date. And that didn't work out. And then she had a relationship with Brock. Brock didn't want to have children. And so, that was the situation. And throughout the whole series, she's had like just all these failed relationships with hyenas. And it seems that she is the problem with these relationships. But I would argue that because she didn't keep her options open, she did not find the right person who had the same morals and values as her. Because, as you know, we cannot find somebody on our level of morals and values in Blackistan. It's impossible. So it doesn't surprise me that she was really never able to find somebody on her level in terms of morals and values. But not only was she not able to find somebody on her level as far as morals and values, but Joan seemed to have like a lot of anxiety issues. It's just like she has to be in control of something. And I know these people, and I've worked in the field of mental health, so I understand what it takes to try to calm these types of people down. Like, the only way to calm a Joan down is to just keep her busy. She loves to be a person who throws parties. She loves to be the person to be there for her friends. She's like pretty codependent, but she does love to be like the shoulder to cry on for her friends. She loves to be the person to throw parties. She just has to clean things. She's like a clean freak. She's a control freak. And for these type of people, you just have to let them do the thing that they do in order to keep that is their balance. And I feel that because Joan never opened up her options to a white man, she couldn't find that partner that not only would have the same morals and values as her, but also be able to be, calm her down. Like, there would be like Brock, for example, was able to calm Joan down, but he didn't have the same morals and values as her in that he did not want to have children. So it was just like, for Joan, she needs somebody who can be both for her. The person who's going to allow her to do all these quirky things, but also have the same morals and values as her, because she is a traditional woman at heart, but she is forced to be a non-conventional person in the end because she refuses to divest. And, the season ends prematurely, but the last partner she ends up with is Aaron, and he seems to be the closest thing to same morals and values as her, but definitely doesn't seem to be on the same level income wise. They make it seem like he is. He decides to, and maybe he is, I don't know, because it's not clear, but I didn't give the vibe that he makes the same money as Joan would. Joan, she passed the bar. She quit being an attorney, but she did pass the bar. She does have her own business. And so she's just always been able to be successful no matter what it is that she does. She finds a way to be successful. And I don't get the vibe that Aaron is on the same vibe as her as far as success is concerned. He's more of he has more of like a secure job that doesn't pay as much. So he is a teacher, and he also is in the reserves of the National Guard. So in the show, he gets deported to Iraq, and then the show ends. So before he gets deported, he is able to purchase a home. He spends many, many, many months searching the market, and Joan forces him to bid on a home. It ended up being a fixer-upper home. They both fix it up real nice, and he ends up scoring a home in a gentrified area that he renovates because he was, pushed by Joan to get it done. he is a person that doesn't take risks, and Joan is a person that does take risks. And so in that regard, it doesn't appear that he is the same person naturally. But he, after kicking and screaming and crying, is willing to adapt. It just can't be a simple I adapt. There has to be kicking and screaming and crying before hyenas adapt. So maybe this is the closest thing that is, of a match for Joan. I definitely, I secretly like Joan. I can't, she annoys me, but I do like Joan. And so I feel Joan deserves better than Aaron for sure. And I think that if her character kept her options open, she would have found that partner that accepts her quirks and also Kirk what's the word, accepts her like weirdness basically, and also be able to calm her down. And so I think it's unfortunate that they portrayed Joan to be this smart. She passed the bar. She made, I believe did she make senior partner? I want to say she made senior partner in the show. So she was very successful in her legal career. After she didn't have the passion to be a lawyer anymore, she opened up her own restaurant, right? And she ended up being successful at that alongside William, which we'll get to him in a minute. And I just think that it's unfortunate that because she didn't keep her options open, she wasn't able to find that partner. So, yeah, that's Joan. Next up, we got Maya. Okay. Where do I start with Maya? Okay, so because the writers try to make Maya's situation the most normal of the group, even though there's like some toxicity there and some dysfunction, they try to make her situation the most normal. Maya also was like, if I had to choose a favorite, she was the one, and I hated that she was the one because the writers purposely made it that way. So Maya is basically the struggle love queen. So she is high school sweethearts with her husband. She was 16 years old when she gave birth to their son. And basically her story is the story of, how you overcome being a teen mom and being successful. I hate this because it never happens. The 16-year-old mom in Blackistan never marries her high school sweetheart, and they stick together and they're able to overcome and be successful like Maya and her husband Darnell. It just doesn't happen, and I just hate that they romanticized her story more than they did Tony's, because Tony's story it's way more realistic for her to be happy. It's way more realistic for her to be successful. They also made Tony's character broke. Her husband. They made her white Jewish husband broke. And that was like the start of the downfall of the relationship. Whereas with Maya, they made like, it was just like they started off broke, but like she became somebody who worked in an office, and then he became a mechanic, and together with the struggle of, they were able to overcome. She became a successful writer, and here's the other thing too with her husband. He had his own garage because he's a mechanic. He had his own garage. He had ownership of his garage. And he, instead of building his garage up, wanted to quit and sell his garage to work for NASCAR, the white man's basically mechanic industry. He wanted to give up his own business instead of continuing with his business and building it up. He'd rather leave it to go work for NASCAR. And it doesn't end up working with NASCAR anyways. And then he ends up trying to come back and try to regain ownership of his garage. And it's just like the typical, now that part is true. That is realistic, that hyenas tend to not want to build and own their own stuff. They tend to want to stay up underneath the white man. That part is true. But their whole story is unrealistic as hell. I enjoyed watching it. The actors, good, talented people. Very intelligent people. However, their story and the way that their story was written is very unrealistic. In the story, they end up becoming... they end up becoming working class. He becomes a mechanic. She becomes somebody who works in the office. He supposedly becomes successful with NASCAR. She becomes successful with her book. And they just overall become this just successful couple who, crossed all barriers and overcome their struggles of Blackistan. When that's not the case, what really happens in Blackistan is the hyena leaves, and he leaves the black mother to fend for herself, and she has to go to the white man for food stamps and things of that nature. And the thing about Maya is that she really never lets the hood leave her. Like, y'all know her character. But yeah, that's how I feel about her whole story, is that it's unrealistic. She was my favorite, but I hated that she was my favorite. And I think that it's because that the writers intentionally have, made this like fantasy that this is what happens when you stick to your own, that you can start with a struggle, but you can overcome your struggles. And that's just not true, like 99.99% of the time. So I hate that this was my favorite character, because at the bottom line is it's unrealistic. But yeah, that's how I feel about Maya.
What is up, black people? How y'all doing? I want to let all you black women know you need to get a white man in your life.